I guess just talking a little bit about 3-on-3. My first like real 3-on-3 experience was playing in Dallas, Texas. They had a tournament called Hoop It Up. So it was 3-on-3, and it took over downtown Dallas. So we were playing, downtown Dallas has a bunch of freeway overpasses, and they just took over car parks underneath the underpasses, and we'd go out there. They'd have something like 300 teams, and at the time I would have been like 18, 19, 20, so it would have been the open division, and we would just spend 2 days, all day, in the summer, but it's overpasses and it's hot in Texas, but it's under the shade, in the shade. There'd be some courts that would have like a curb on it, and there'd be a couple courts that have like a pothole, over in like the 3-point area, so you just didn't shoot it from that area. But it was, it was in the street. It was corporate as far as like it had branding, it had sponsorship and whatnot, but it was dope, man. We were going out there just doing. I went out there with a couple football players I know, and it was just like perfect sort of vibe, and we just did backdoor screens, lobs, and just had a great time. Food trucks, drink trucks, smoothies, and it was such a vibe, man. It made me love that particular part of the game as far as 3-on-3.
Yeah.
Shaq?
No, I definitely have a couple of different experiences, but I guess my first one was when I was 16 years old, and a buddy of mine, Adam Westerhout, he used to work for the city of Perth, and he was able to get funding for it as a health initiative, right? So we had a 3-on-3 tournament. It was called the Streetball Classic, right? And we had teams come in. I know the fire department had a team, and then all the state league guys would kind of get their best 3 or their strongest 3 and come together to create their team. And man, Perth Streetball Classic was awesome. Like, I was obviously very young, but it was right in the heart of the city, and everyone that played basketball or was in that basketball community just came out and supported. And then on top of that, you got regular people that are just shopping in the city, and they stopped to look because we had it barricaded out, right? Portable hoop with a glass backboard, all that. We had a Red Bull truck, which was the DJ. So the roof, there was like a sunroof that opened, and the DJ was popped through there, and he was spinning tunes, and it was a huge vibe. And I think 3-on-3 is all about the vibes, right? Like, it's such a good time. It brings people together, and it's a competitive environment, but it's also not too serious, because that element of, just community takes that away. And you're still able to have a fun, competitive environment without it having the seriousness of like a 5-on-5. And being young, obviously, I was like, oh man, like, there's a couple old dudes out here, like, we're gonna run them. And it got to the semi-finals. I played with 2 of my friends. One of them was an ex-D2 college player, and the other guy was a current state league player. And we look out, we see these old dudes, and we're like, nah, man, we got these. And it's a semi-final, and I kid you not, we got rolled, man. It was like alley-oop passes, but they were laying it up. So they were just backdoor cuts. We were losing them, and then we're getting bodied as well. Like, and they weren't even strong, but they were just smart. And that was a cool experience, because we just, we learnt so much from that, just about 3-on-3 itself, and like how to be basketball smart in general, like, because you can translate that to 5-on-5, right?
For sure.
And so that was a cool experience, and a bit of my growth as a player too. So yeah, and I know, Joe, you got another interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, but Luke, what would you say, man? What was your first time like really like getting into that spirit?
Yeah, I guess 3-on-3 for me, we played it in practices sometimes with the 5-on-5 guys here. But the first sort of tournament for me was that Adelaide Pride tournament out in Adelaide Fitness Expo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So under Coach KB, who's known me since I was 7 or 8,
Yeah.
like yourself.
Yeah. And didn't you do that in between, like you were doing some filming for a food truck?
Yeah. So we had, you wouldn't have known this actually, we had a food truck festival at the same time,
Right.
right next
In
to
the
Adelaide
city.
Oval.
Yeah.
And so I was transporting myself from there, then went to the fitness expo at Wayville.
Right.
And then as soon as we finished that one, we lost the grand final in the end. Went
You
straight
went back.
there. Ended up parking like 20 minutes out. Caught a scooter.
Damn.
I didn't tell you this.
No, I know,
I
you didn't tell me the
scooted back
part.
through Adelaide to
What?
Adelaide Oval to film.
That's
Came
dope.
back out again.
That's awesome.
So that was my first experience with 303.
Yeah.
And it's such a such a
Yeah.
3-on-3 thing, man. Like,
Yeah, and like the thing I loved most, sorry to cut you
No,
off,
no,
but
no.
it was like, as you were saying, such a community thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even knowing, like a team we lost against Sydney Supersonics,
Yeah.
those guys right now, they're still giving out, programs to kids who want to learn the game, want to develop the game, and like you don't find that in 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Right.
The biggest thing for me, again, like there's no coaches in 3-on-3,
Yeah.
which I think is fantastic,
Yeah.
because you get rid of that political stuff, you get rid of the stuff of, playing favorites and whatnot. It's I play 40 seconds and I'm gassed. I need to get out for a
Yeah.
minute and I'm back in again.
No doubt. Yeah.
Right? And so it's so much faster, so much more physical,
Yeah.
which I was talking to KB about that as well, and that's how I play.
Yeah.
I think that's why I struggled in 5-on-5 so much, because of that physical aspect of I'd take it maybe too far with the physical stuff, shoving
Yeah.
guys and pushing guys and whatnot, things you can get away with in 3-on-3.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, just loved it. And like right now, we've been talking to you guys about it, but sort of trying to take 3-on-3 almost full time instead of 5-on-5 now for me, which is another gap. So yeah.
No, it's good. Like there's friendship. One of my first, I lived in South America for a year, and I randomly came across like a 3-on-3 tournament at a park, right? And at the time I was teaching English, and there was this tall dude that was in the back office, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I know you play ball." He was like, "Yeah." I played D3 ball, and he was lefty, long hair, Dan Dickus, still friends to this day, part of the DSC crew. But we went out there, and I remember getting a putback dunk, and everybody was like, "Whoa!" And
Yeah.
Dan was like, and it wasn't even like a big. It was like
Yeah.
it was like a feeble putback.
Yeah.
So it was like still on the ring, and you
Yeah,
just basically push it in the ring. But we lost the grand final as well, and we won some socks. And we were and we were hella geek, but like
Yeah.
that was straight up 20 years ago.
Yeah. And that was in South America. Yeah.
That was Chile. That was Santiago, Chile, in the middle of
That's-
Santiago.
man.
And once again, it was 3. I think it would have been 2 Americans, and I think we had a couple local guys on our squad, and we figured we'd just go out here and roll them. But once again, like they had 3-4 guys that were better as a team.
Yeah, yeah.
Bet.
That's awesome. And I also had another experience. It's kind of funny because I'm reminded of it every day actually. So I played a 3-on-3 tournament. We got together. It was advertised as a cash prize tournament. McCallum Park in South Perth in WA. And I got together a couple guys who I thought, we can maybe win some money with this.
Yeah.
And we looked at the competition. I heard of a few guys that were signing up, and I was like, I think we're good. Right?
Yeah.
So come out and we do really well. First 3 games we're doing well, and then there was a 4th game that we had to play, and then we were going into finals.
Yeah.
And we were playing against a couple guys that were just finishing high school, and I think I was just finishing high school as well, or maybe my first year out of high school. Yeah. And we were much taller than them, much more athletic, and I remember I went backdoor one time. I had one of my boys throw me a lob, and I caught it, massive 2-handed dunk, and we were hyped, man. It was hyped. This is an outdoor court. There's multiple courts. There's 3 courts, and people are just kind of around the lines. Wherever they want to watch the game, they're just there, and there's heaps of people. And so people going crazy, like you hear the oohs in the crowd, and I'm hyped, right? And I'm young back then, so I'm like, shit, I'm gonna do that again. I'm talking shit. I'm like, I'm gonna do it again. And then I go again, and this time the ball goes and it goes too high, but I still try to reach back and get it. 2 hands, the ball goes right through my hands, and I still follow through with the dunk. And we're on an outdoor court, chain net, and there's a pointy metal bit at the end of the chain, and I caught it, and so this finger right here, you see that right there.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and that ripped it off. And it immediately, blood was everywhere. It was just pissing out. And my parents were there. I was that young that my parents were there.
Yeah.
They had driven me to the tournament, and I was like, "Nah, let's wrap it. I'm playing like we're winning this money. We're winning this money." And
no blood rule, no blood.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember clearly, my mom said, "Shut up, get in the car, we're going right to the hospital." And so we bandaged it up as best as we could with whatever first aid was there. And I went to the hospital, and the dude literally injected whatever to numb it. And, you know, I was on the table, stitched it up, and obviously it didn't heal too well. Still scar tissue there, but every day I'm constantly reminded of that, and that's one of my 3-on-3 experiences. Yeah,
it would stay with you, and I think probably my most memorable would have been, or one of my other most memorable, was just random, because that's what the game is, right? Like, it wasn't organized. A buddy of mine, that same Dan Dickens actually was getting married over in Europe, getting married in Greece. So there was a few of us, Will and Jeff, that we were hanging out in Paris first. And we just spent the weekend there and then off to Greece. And we're walking around Paris. We not balling, like, this is like traveling on shoestring budget and shit.
Yeah.
So we're just walking around trying to make an experience.
Yeah.
And we walked up on courts. They're playing. I would have had some like Converse on, probably some jeans or some cargo shorts or something like that. Like you're almost like backpacker stuff.
Yeah.
But whatever, we got into it, like, you know, just like, hey, y'all got, hey, we got next. Just like, hey, the three of us, we'll get next. And we went there. I have no idea what the score was. I think I remember hitting the jumper. There was no nets, but it was just that idea of like, you just walk up on it, create a quick memory, bam, 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 and now you're rolling.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
So what, Luke, you know, I know I'm reminiscing, he's reminiscing. What are you looking forward to in this space, man?
Yeah, I think for me, like, it's something completely new.
Yeah.
I've gone through 5-on-5. I've been through that SA Country State Development Program from 14s, 15s, 16s. And then, just sort of the freedom, I guess, of 3-on-3.
Yeah.
But I also love, like, with the YouTube stuff now that I'm working on, it's so much about that positive vibe and sort of bringing that community together.
Yeah.
And 3-on-3 is a real space I think I can get into and sort of create that culture for, you know, my platform, what I'm doing, but also showcase sort of my talent, what I'm working for as well.
Yeah, right.
It's exciting. It's a new space for me. Something that I'm looking forward to getting after, and
It being an Olympic sport, does that influence?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, right.
I know we've had this conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a few plans in the
right.
works to sort of push and see how far we can go and how far I can take it.
And I think, sorry to cut you off, but I think that's where so many people in the sport are right now, because something that was just a memory, a training tool, now all of a sudden is on the Olympic stage.
Yeah.
Like, my kids were playing with Lego a couple weeks ago, like right after the Olympics, and they had a little skateboard figure out there, and they were doing this thing, and then they had three judges with like little Lego figurines on the side, and it was just like, no kid in the history of Lego would have had a skateboard with 3 judges on the side of it. You know, it wouldn't have been that visible. Like, I'm not a skateboarder like that, and it's not like, you know, I guess if you're in that world and you're going to skateboard competitions, but that's what the Olympics has done, is sort of bring this out to be sort of open for everybody. Right?
And I guess like the last, like Tokyo, for example, that was right where it sort of started for me anyway. I remember watching it. They didn't have it on TV, so I had to stream it on my laptop. We were in Clare with a couple of the guys from uni. We had placement out there as well, so it was that night, in the weekend, we were just watching that.
Yeah.
That day after I watched that 3-on-3 game, I think I hit you up.
Yeah.
I hit KB up, and I was like, how far do you think is realistic and how far can I take it? And I still remember KB's message. It was like, look, it's not up to me, it's totally on you. Like, how far do you want to take it, and how much are you willing to work for? I can guide you, but how far are you willing to take it? So that's the thing for me now, is sort of, you know, how much work am I going to put in? I've spoken to you two about it, and Perro about it, and Lee running gym programs for
yeah,
me now,
for sure.
and KB looking out for me when tournaments coming up and whatnot. And yeah, how much work am I willing to put into it and sort of see, how far I can go with it. I think it's a space that I can, so
I think that's the vibe, right? Like, I know you're trying to get NBL gigs, upper level gigs.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I think the beauty of 3-on-3 is that all the guys that are in the NBL playing high level 5-on-5, they're not the guys that are trying to do 3-on-3, right?
No, man.
They kind of got their own thing going on, and they have their contracts, and their mind's not really thinking, oh, let me try out 3-on-3.
Yeah.
So that space is fresh. It's a clean slate.
Yeah.
It's a different type of basketball. For those of you that have played it, you would know it's high intensity, up tempo, and for the most part, I think that some 5-on-5 players, or not, I know most 5-on-5 players wouldn't fit into that system.
Yeah.
Their play styles are very different. So that's a positive for those looking to get into 3-on-3 like yourself.
Yeah.
Is like there's skilled basketball players out there, but in terms of 3-on-3, it's such a different game, and I feel like everyone's starting here.
Yeah.
No one's got an advantage from the jump.
We
Right.
put together a last minute team, which was Luke, Ravenstein brothers. And
Day before, wasn't it?
Yeah, the day before, and that's the vibe. And
We
we
were
showed
all
up,
late to the intros.
and we were late to the intros. I had to do dishes before I got out there. The Ravenstein brothers coming from way up north. You're coming from.
I ended up at a
food-
multicultural festival.
Yeah, man, and just being able to go against, like you said, number 1 ranked 3-on-3 guy that night, take
That
him to
whole
the grand
team was
final.
top 15 ranked.
Yeah.
And we were right there with them swinging, and like that's like you said, it starts at that level playing field.
Absolutely.
So Luke, we'll see where you take it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool, man. I bet.
Good luck.
Thank you.
There we go, Jim.
All right.
Sweet.
Done.
We out.
I like it. Short, sweet.